Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shanka baje, Kanta baje, baje karatala. Shanka baje, Kanta baje, baje karatala. Madhuram Randanga Bhaje Parama Rasala Madhuram Randanga Bhaje Parama Rasala Shanka Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Madhu 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 Bhaje Shanga Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Madhu 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 Bhaje Shanga Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Madhu 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 Bhaje Madhu 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 Bhaje Madhu 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 Bhaje Hariba 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 Nitai Goreba Nitai Goreba Hariba Hariba Nitai Goreba Kote Chanda Jini Vadana Ujvala Kote Chanda Jini Vadana Ujvala Galadeshe Banamala Kore Jala Mala Galadeshe Banamala Kore Jalamala Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Kadagada Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Kadagada Bhakati Vinodha Dekhe Gorara Sampada Bhakati Vinodha Dekhe Gorara Sampada Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Koshobha. Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Koshobha. Jaya Janavi Tatavane Jaga Manaloba. Janavi Tatavane Jaga Manaloba. Gorangea Vatiko Choba Jagajana Manoloba. Gorangea Vatiko Choba Jagajana Manoloba. Jagajana Manaloba. Jagajana Manaloba. Haribo, 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 Nitai Goribo. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jagannath, Jagannath, Bolade Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Goribo, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatyade Satarine. Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Goivo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vivo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Horinga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya 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 Sitaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jagannath, Jagannath, Baladev, Jai Subhadra. Jaya Sitaram, Lakshmana Hanuman, Sitaram, Hanuman. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Goibo, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Nitai Goibo, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. महान महारानी की, सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री राम नवमी महामहोत्सव की, निताई गौ भवनंदे। जो विष्णु परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य हस्तोदर सदा सिंधुवाएंगे अवचन स्वामी शील बोपार की, ISKCON फाउंडाचार्य His divine guest, Srila Prabhupada ki. Jo Vishnu Paramhamsa, Parivachakacharya, Asto Darsata, His divine guest, Srila Bhaktin Goswami, Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananda Guri Vaishnava ki. Namacha Srila Ridasta Korki. Prem Se Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Gaura Bhaktan ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Gopikan Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki. Vrindavan Dham ki. Navadvip Dham ki. Mayapur Dham ki. Ganga Maya ki. Yamuna Maya ki. Bhakti Devi ki. Tulsi Devi ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki. Their Lord Shri Jagannath Puri Subhadra Maharani ki. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki. Shri Ram Naumi Mahamatsav ki. Nitai Gopamanande. Oh, glorious assembled devotees. Oh, glorious assembled devotees. Oh, glorious assembled devotees. Oh, glorious, Shri Guru and Shri Guru Anga. Oh, glorious Srila Prabhupada ki. Shilatanka Naka Nahi Ito Nashinga Parato Nashinga Yato Yoto Yamika To Nashinga Bahena Shinga, Hidayena Shinga. Bahena Shinga, Hidayena Shinga. Nashinga Madin, Sharanam Prabhupada. Naka Adbhuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Dano Brinda Echavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Nitai Gopamanande.
Hare Krishna. So, happy Ram Naumi to all of you that have come late or early. Thank you very much for attending our Ram Naumi festival. We're very privileged and honored today to have His Grace Nishingananda Prabhu with us. So, Nishingananda Prabhu, for those of you that don't know him, he's the director for the Bhaktivedanta College of Education and Culture, one of the main pillars in South Africa for the college. He's a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Chara Swami Maharaj, and he's served in many roles in ISKCON, South Africa, as temple president in Gauteng of Hillbrow, Lenasia, Midrand. I'm not sure, even Pretoria, I think, actually. So all the temples in Gauteng, he served there in various capacities, also as a temple president. Very learned devotee, so please take advantage. I just wanted to make the point that today is the first day of 4 days that he's given us. So the entire weekend, tomorrow, it starts at 7 again. And just by a show of hands, how many of you are coming? So few of you. So I hope you'll be inspired after the class to come, actually. And then Saturday and Sunday again. Saturday from 4 to 6, and then from 6 to 8, and then Sunday from morning, actually. Nishingananda Prabhu put a lot of time and effort into this schedule to make sure that he can impart and to teach as many of the lessons from the Ramayana as much as possible. So please take advantage, actually. He's given up his family time to come all the way from Johannesburg and be with us and give us his association. So the least we can do is try and come and pay some attention. Hare Krishna. His Grace Nishingananda Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Prajajanaranjana. Yashodanandana Prajajanaranjana. Yamunateva Vanachari. Yamuna Deva Vanacharya. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachahi Yamuna Yamunatira Vanachahi Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram 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 Raghupati Raghuram Patita Pavana Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman. Jaya Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Jaya Jagannath, Jagannath, Baladev Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Goribo, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gora, Haribo. Om Svaparamam Sabrivachacharyo Stotra Sada Shindvanges Apachan Bhaktan Swami Shilabhopadi Ki Jai ISKCON founder Chashidvanges Shilabhopadi Ki Jai Om Svaparamam Sabrivachacharyo Stotra Sada Shindvanges Shila Bhaktin Goswami Shilabhopadi Ki Jai Ananda Guri Vaishnavanda Ki Jai Namacha Shiladidas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Koshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaura Bhaktana Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Govinda Sham Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Mayapur Dham ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Yamuna Maya ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gopramanande, Sitaram Lakshma Hanuman ki jai, Shri Ram Naumi Mahamatsav ki jai, Nitai Gopramanande. All glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious Shri Guru and Shri Guranga, all glorious Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So let us cover the Mangala Charan prayers. For those that know it, you can join in. Om Jnanatimi Vandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. So we're very happy to be with you all celebrating Sri Ram Naumi festival over the next few days. So today we're going to be introducing Ramayan and also share with you a different perspective of Ramayan. It is impossible to go through the whole of the Ramayan on these days, and the sessions that I'm going to have over the next few days, starting today, is just there to give you some inspiration, some motivation, something to take home, even if it's one single point, philosophical understanding from Ramayan that you can take home, that you can nurture your devotion and be inspired to actually associate more with Ramayan and with Sri Ram and his associates. So today we're going to be covering values versus valuables, and also specifically around Ram Naumi. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have many life manuals. Ramayan is one such life manual, and Ramayan teaches us, is given to us so that we can live a life with ideal character. Having the proper ideal character is very, very important and very attractive. Lord Ramachandra, he is the personality coming in this world, the supreme personality coming in this world who displays ideal character. So if you want to know, just like sometimes people have a discussion of what is ideal, What is real proper character? And the gold standard of ideal character is Lord Ramachandra and his associates. So that should be the baseline. That should be our ideal. Then Mahabharata teaches how to live a devotionally focused life. With Bhagavad Gita as the fundamental principles to guide our devotional life. And then Srimad Bhagavatam, where Maharaj Parikshit, who's got 7 days to live, he asks the question, what should a dying man do? And Sukadeva Goswami replies. So Srimad Bhagavatam is really about how to perfect death. So Ramayana and Mahabharata is really the art of living, and Srimad Bhagavatam is really the art of dying. And if we perfectly live by these beautiful scriptures, then our life will be sublime and perfect. I'm going to share a few verses from the 5th canto, chapter 19, verse 1, 2, and 3. This is in prose form. Shri Shuko Vacha, Kim Purusha Varsha Bhagavantam Adipurusham Lakshma Ma Nagramcha Sita Biramam Ramam Tacharanam Sanikarsha Birata Paramam Bhagavanto Hanuman Shahas Kim Purushair Avirata Bhaktir Upasate. So Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, in Kim Purusha Varsha, the great devotee Hanuman is always engaged with the inhabitants of that land in devotional service to Lord Ramachandra, the elder brother of Lakshman and dear husband of Sita Devi. Text 2. A host of Gandharvas is always engaged in chanting the glories of Lord Ramachandra. That chanting is always extremely auspicious. Along with Aristishena, the chief person in Kim Purusha Varsha, Hanumanji constantly hears the glories with complete attention. Hanuman chants the following mantras. So the mantra that Hanuman is now going to chant is very, very instructive. Let me please your lordship by chanting the Bija mantra Omkar. I wish to offer my respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who is the best among the most highly elevated personalities. Your lordship is the reservoir of all good qualities of the Aryans, people who are advanced. Your character and behavior are always consistent, and you always control your senses and mind. Acting just like an ordinary human being, you exhibit exemplary character to teach others how to behave. There is a touchstone that can be used to examine the qualities of gold, but you are like a touchstone that can verify all good qualities. You are worshipped by the Brahmanas, who are the foremost of all devotees. You, the Supreme Person, are the King of Kings, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. You'll have to excuse me, I'm still recovering from a flu, so I'll be coughing in between. But here Hanuman is making a very, very wonderful point, few points. And the point is that Lord Ramachandra, his character and his behavior is consistent, and he exhibits exemplary character to teach us how to behave. So therefore, hearing about Ramayana is extremely beneficial and very, very important. Why? Because through the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, we are learning what it means to be a human being, what it means to be a good person, what it means to have good characteristics or good qualities. And Hanuman gives a beautiful example that touchstone is used to examine gold. So Lord Ramachandra, he's the touchstone. to verify the standard, the gold standard of a quality or high quality human beings. So the purpose of Ramayana is really to teach ideal behavior and ideal relationships. How husband and wives should be relating with each other, parents and children, mentor and students, siblings, king and subjects, kings with other kings. So relationship is very, very foundational in Ramayana. And both sides of relationships, that means the ideal relationships and the non-ideal relationships, are presented very clearly. And then Ramayana also enlightens us about ideal qualities, relationships, behaviors, leadership, administration, and ultimately how to live in this world. There are different incarnations of the Supreme Lord, avatars, that descend in this world. And we know just as Krishna expands into unlimited incarnations, Prabhupada describes that there are as many incarnations as waves in the ocean. And in practically every species of life, the Lord incarnates and expands. So just as Krishna expands in all the different incarnations, similarly Srimati Radhavani also expands in all the incarnations. So therefore you have Radha and Krishna, Sita, Ram, Lakshmi, Narayan, you have the Lord and his consort, and they keep expanding in different features. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, who Srila Prabhupada in his Bhagavad Gita presents, Prabhupada presents that in honor of Baladev Vidyabhushan. So in his commentary in the Bhagavad Gita, he presents two very important principles, words that we should try to remember. He says, Ekam eva paramam tattvam, vachya vachaka bhava bhak. Vachya sarveshvaro devo, vachaka pranava bhavet. There is only one absolute truth, param satyam. Ekam eva. Only one, certainly. There's only one absolute truth. So it's not like when the expansions or the incarnations, it's not like there are many gods. No, there is only one absolute truth. But that one absolute truth appears in this world, in different universes, in different features, to present and teach according to the specific role and mood. Then he says that absolute truth, he expresses himself in two ways. One is vachya, which he says denoted, that means the personality himself, and vachaka, the denoter, the person denoted or referenced. So the original vachya, denoted, is the Supreme Lord, and the original vachaka, denoter, is pranava or om. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Bhagavan Swayam, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality, and the denoter, vachaka, is omkar or pravana, pranava. So this way, just as Krishna expands in different incarnations, he also has his name, or in this case vachaka, which is om, that is also non-different. In Srimad Bhagavatam also this is stated. We get Shabda Brahma, Vedic literature, and we get Para Brahma, the transcendental bodily form. So these are the two forms of the Lord. Eternal expansions, Para Brahma forms, which is called Vachya. And then you got the Vachaka, which is Shabda Brahma. And the original sound is Om, and then Om also begins to expand. And how does Om expand? Just as Vachya, the denoted Supreme Lord, takes on multiple forms, namely Matsya, Kurma, etc., Lord Ramachandra, Vachaka denoting the Shabda Brahman, original Omkar, takes many forms as Rig Veda, Puranas, etc. So Omkar or the Vachaka also expands in different features. So we have the Supreme Lord, Param Satyam, one absolute truth. He's got, in this case, we're discussing two features of him. One is the Parabrahma feature, the supreme form, and different facets and expansions of those forms. And today we are focusing on Lord Ramachandra. And then Shabda Brahma, Pranava, Om, manifest as the Vedas, Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharva Veda, Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and then Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's all the different expansions. So this is important to appreciate because just like we have the Acha Vigra, Prabhupada says the Acha Vigra incarnation. Krishna is incarnated, he has descended, avatar, in the form of the Acha Vigra. Why? So that we can see him, we can serve him. Because Krishna's form is Satchidanand Vigra, completely transcendental. And you cannot see the supreme form with these mundane eyes. So the Lord appears very mercifully in the Acha Vigra form. Similarly, the Lord also continuously appears in every universe in the form of Shabda Brahman, in the form of Ramayana, in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam and Ramayana are non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Which means that if you have a copy of Ramayana, you are holding the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your hands. And just as the deity form is there for you to serve him, similarly, you can associate with the Supreme Lord in the form of Ramayana. So we should not just take Ramayana like a story that we hear now and then. No. Ramayana is actually non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I like to recite few prayers to give you a comparison or similarity rather. Sanatana Goswami, understanding this, that Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. Ramayana is not different from Lord Ramachandra. So just to appreciate this, in these prayers, Sanatana Goswami is referring to Srimad Bhagavatam as non-different from Krishna. So I'll recite these prayers. Sarva Shastra Payusha, Sarva Vedika Satphala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnyada, Sarva Lokai Tridprada, Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavato Prabhu Kali Dvando Didaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churn from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O you are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophic conclusions, O you grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O light breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna who has returned amongst us. Paramananda Pataya Premavarsha Sharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer respectful obeisance unto you. By reading you one attains transcendental bliss. For your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone for your incarnation of Lord Krishna. Madeka bandhu mad sangim mad guru mad mahadana mad nishtaraka mad bhagya mad ananda namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer respectful obeisance unto you. Asadu sadhu tadahin atti nichocha taraka hanamuncha gada chinmam premna ritkatyospura. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O give of saintly to the unsaintly, O uplift the very fallen. Please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest. Mahatma throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. So here we see Sanatana Goswami is sharing beautiful verses describing, glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam, non-different from Krishna as a personality. Similarly, Ramayana also is non-different from Lord Ramachandra. Ramayana is a personality. It is Lord Ramachandra, and you can associate, you can pray, you can have a relationship with Ramayana. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that when we hearing Ramayana, what should be our focus, what should be our attention. And there it says, Tasmad ekana manasa bhagavan satvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dehaya pujyasya nityada. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of devotees. So we should be constantly cultivating an habit to hear about Lord Ramachandra, to glorify Lord Ramachandra, to remember Lord Ramachandra, and to worship Lord Ramachandra. In this way, we will constantly be associating with the Supreme Lord and always be protected. In the 9th canto, 11th chapter, 23rd verse, there Sukadeva Goswami says, O King Parikshit, anyone who orally receives the narrations concerning the characteristic of Lord Ramachandra's pastimes will ultimately be freed from the disease of envy and thus be liberated from the bondage of fruitive activities. So this is the benefit, one of the benefits of hearing the glories of Lord Ramachandra. We become free from the disease of envy. And the acharyas and the scriptures describe that this is the quality that really brings us into this material world. The quality of envy to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that envy then manifests in different ways in this world. Then in terms of hearing the sound incarnation, which is what Srimad Bhagavatam and Ramayana is, the sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Soul, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, enters into the heart of a self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, and thus cleanses the dust of material association, such as lust, anger, and hankering. Thus it acts like autumnal rains upon pools of muddy water. So when we hear Ramayana, when we hear Mahabharata, when we hear Bhagavatam, when we hear the glories of the Supreme Lord, what happens? The Supreme Lord enters into our ears, goes into our heart, and cleanses. Just like the holy name. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So the holy name also goes into our heart and does the cleansing. So therefore it is very, very wonderful to hear the glories of Ramayana and the Supreme Lord. There are many reasons why the Lord appears. This is the famous reason in Bhagavad Gita. Paritaranam sadhunam vinashayam chadushram dharma samstar panarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So Lord Ramachandra, his appearance in this world is for a specific purpose and has a specific mood. He is described to be Maryada Purushottam, one who very strictly follows the Vedic rules and regulations, the embodiment of dharma, religious principles, one who exhibits ideal behavior. So Lord Ramachandra is very straight, right? You can learn ideal character and behavior from Lord Ramachandra. Once you learn how to be an ideal human being, then we can progress to Krishna Lila. And Lord Krishna is said to be Lila Purushottam, Swayam Bhagavan, who performs extraordinary, wonderful pastimes, the embodiment of pastimes. So now we can enter into Krishna's pastimes into the spiritual world. So first, just like Prabhupada says, a Vaishnav is a perfect gentleman. So we need to learn how to be a perfect gentleman. Then we can go into transcendence, right? And then the climax and the perfection of transcendence is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Pumarta Mahan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Prem Purushottam, the Lord who gives love of God, the embodiment of love. So you can see it's progressive. You cannot be a lover of God if you do not have ideal behavior. It just doesn't work. Somebody who's a lover of God automatically displays ideal behavior. There are many glories of Lord Ramachandra, and these glories are eternal. In every universe, they're enacted, and it is described that even in this universe, it's been existing for 2 million years, and it is prevalent all across the globe. In practically every country, there are remnants of Ramayana. We know that when Lord Ramachandra was ruling, he also practically was ruling the whole planet. And therefore, the culture that was prevalent in Ayodhya was also prevalent across the globe. And you'll find many deities, temples, novels, portraits, poems, names, inscriptions in different parts of the world. Sukadeva Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit in the 9th canto that I know that you've been hearing Ramayana regularly by the Tattvadirshis, the seers of the truth, because it was Maharaj Parikshit's family culture that every evening they would come and hear Ramayana. So naturally the Ramayana was being told to Maharaj Parikshit and his family members every night. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami says, because you know the Ramayana, I'm briefly going to share Ramayana, and he obviously gives Ramayana in 2 chapters. Sukadeva Goswami also shares how Lord Krishna in Dwarka every afternoon, Lord Krishna would get the sages to come and narrate Ramayana. And Lord Krishna would be attracted by the glories of Ramayana. So Lord Ramachandra's pastimes are so sweet that even Krishna would be attracted to them, and he would hear them regularly. So it is very, very exemplary for us to try to cultivate a regular habit. Not like only on Ram Naumi we begin to think about Lord Ramachandra. But regularly we should be able to cultivate the habit of hearing all the incarnations of the Supreme Lord, just like in the Bhagavatam. This should be the practice. Here are some pictures. Here we find in Malaysia different dramas are enacted. This is a portrait in Italy showing how Ravan is capturing Sita. Here's an inscription on a wall in Iraq. Here is Lord Ramachandra with a bow, and here's Hanuman engraved on a stone. This is a drama that is done in Russia. So across the globe you find remnants and the culture of Ramayana still prevalent. And then obviously we know the Adam's Bridge, which the scientists have taken pictures. For us, we really don't need evidence. For us, we have the faith of the disciplic succession of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of the previous acharyas, that these pastimes are eternal, and these pastimes are very beneficial for us to hear. When the Lord appears, he doesn't just appear for one reason. We find when Lord Nrsimhadev appeared, Lord Nrsimhadev appeared from a pillar. And after he killed Hiranyakashipu, then he got Prahlad, and Prahlad sat on Lord Nrsimhadev's lap. And as Lord Nrsimhadev was caressing Prahlad, tears was coming out from Lord Nrsimhadev's eyes. And he was thinking that how fortunate is Prahlad that I am like a fatherly figure for him. How wonderful would it be if I also have a father? I came out from a pillar, so I didn't have a father. So this was a desire that Lord Nrsimhadev had to have a father. So therefore, in Tetra Yuga, the Lord appears now as Lord Ramachandra. and he has a father, Dashrath Maharaj. It's also explained that another desire was Lakshmi Devi. She wanted to have personal time with Lord Narayan, and to arrange to fulfill that desire of Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi obviously is manifestation of Sita Devi, and Narayan, Lord Ramachandra. So then they have personal time in the forest. Jai and Vijay, they were cursed to become demons. So in this way, this is another reason why Lord Ram appears. They come as demons, and then to kill them, to have chivalrous activity, he appears. And then also there are different curses that are there that the Lord fulfills. One specific one is Narad Muni cursing the Lord. It's a long story, we won't get into it, but Narad Muni, he curses the Lord that he'll also be separated, he'll also experience viraha, separation from his consort, and he will be assisted by monkeys, because Narad Muni's face was converted or was changed into a monkey. Narad Muni had the pride that I'm a brahmachari, and I cannot be affected by any woman in the creation, in the Lord's creation. I'm a very powerful brahmachari. So because Narad Muni had that pride, the Lord taught him a lesson. And this is whole pastime of how Narad Muni wants to get married, and the Lord changes his face into a monkey, and he then realizes and curses the Lord. In the prayers of Hanuman that we read in the 5th canto, in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada describes 3 reasons why Lord Ramachandra came to this world and what we can learn from Lord Ramachandra. First is we should be focused on doing our duty and never forsake our duty. Just like if we get married, then we should live as Grihastha couples ideally, and we should never be separated. We should be doing our duty. So that's the first principle that Lord Ramachandra teaches. The second principle, which is there, Prabhupada says, is Lord Ramachandra teaches that in this world there is going to be suffering. So we should understand that suffering is part of this creation. We know in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna gives the stamp, Dukhalayam Shashwatam. It is Dukhalayam and Shashwatam, temporary, and Dukha Alayam. Alayam means a house of Dukha. So we in the house of Dukha. And the third aspect that Srila Prabhupada says is Lord Ramachandra came to this world to teach viraha, separation, service in separation. He also came to give the separation of service to his devotees. And for example, Bharat serving in separation. Sita and Ram separated. So this is one aspect of loving service, service in separation. The glories of Valmiki. Valmiki is described to be the first poet, and Valmiki really means one who came from an anthill. He meditated for 60,000 years and became a Tattvadarshi. He could then see past, present and future. And by the mercy of Narad Muni, he was able to see the pastimes of Lord Ram, and he then described the pastime of Lord Ram in 24,000 verses. Ramayana is said to be the oldest poem, or the first poem. And it was written over 1 million years ago. And Valmiki wrote Ramayana when Lord Ram was 40 years. So he was actually a contemporary of Lord Ram. He was living while he was present. So he had actually, Narad Muni had presented the pastimes of Lord Ram while Lord Ram was present, and then he also presented the future of Lord Ram's pastime. Ramayan means, or is called is Ityas, and the word Ityas is broken down into three parts: Iti, her, and Asha. Iti means thus, in the past it was. So thus it was in the past, called history. And Ramayan means Rama, the Lord who is the reservoir of pleasure, and Ayana, two words, Rama, Ayana. So Ayana means to go. So the goings of Ram, the path of Ram, the journey of Ram, the deeds of Ram. So Ramayan is basically all about the glories, the qualities, the deeds of Lord Ramachandra. It starts off with Valmiki inquiring from Lord Ramachandra. And Valmiki says, he's asking Narad Muni, O best of the knowers of truth, tell me who, present now on this earth, is a reservoir of all opulence in full. Who is the most accomplished, learned, powerful, noble-minded, truthful, and grateful? Who possesses flawless moral character and remains engaged, looking after the genuine welfare of all living entities? Who is there present that is without an equal, clever, the most beautiful, and is never subject to the influence of anger or malice, yet instills fear within the hearts of even the greatest demigods when enraged? Who possesses the powers of giving protection to everyone within the three worlds? To whom has the goddess of fortune bestowed all blessings? So this was the question Valmiki asked Narad Muni. And then Narad Muni begins to narrate the glories of Lord Ram. He presents 67 ideal qualities. I'm not going to read through the qualities. Lord Ramachandra set the perfect example. He was an ideal king, son, brother, husband, and master. He is called Maryada Purushottam, one who exhibits ideal behavior, exemplary and perfect in every respect. So, two beautiful descriptions that Narad Muni gives. In fortitude, he is like the Himalayan mountains. In strength, he is like Lord Vishnu. In beauty, he is like the moon. In forbearance, he is like the earth. And in anger, he is like the fire that blazes forth at the time of universal destruction. In wealth, he is like Kuvera. And in devotion, he is like Dharma, the Lord of righteousness. Rama has mighty arms that extend down to his knees, and his throat is marked with three auspicious lines like those on the canticle. He has high and broad shoulders, a wide chest, a beautiful formed head, a graceful forehead, powerful jaws, and deeply embedded collarbones. His eyes are large. He is majestically medium tall in stature, and all his limbs are well formed and symmetrical. His body complexion is greenish and possessor of a great luster. So Lord Ramachandra, his color was green like fresh green grass. The appearance of the four brothers. So it is described that Ayodhya was ruled by Dashrath for many, many thousands of years. And he was such an exemplary king. He was ruling so ideally that Ayodhya had no locks. None of the shops were even locked. Right? Nobody locked their homes. This is how ideal the city was, how exemplary and cultured the city was. And it's described that nobody gave in charity. Why? Because there was nobody to receive charity. Everyone had sufficient of all resources. So they were all very happy living in Ayodhya. But there was one lack, and that was Dashrath did not have any sons. So that the lineage could continue. And the Ramayana describes how Dashrath, with the guidance of the spiritual master, get Rishishringa to come and they do a Putra Kameshri Yagya, special Yagya, where a personality comes from the fire and gives them sweet rice, special sweet rice. And then the sweet rice is then given to Dashrath's queens, his wives. And eventually, at the appropriate time, Lord Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, these four personalities appear. It is described that when these four brothers appeared, they were so beautiful. Every feature, every part of their body was so beautiful. When the residents would come and they would see, some of them would see, for example, the hand of Lord Ramachandra. And they would get so mesmerized, their eyes would just focus on the hand, and because the hand was so perfect, the eyes would not want to move to any other part of the body because they just wanted to drink the perfection of his arm. And the neighbors would ask each other, "Did you see the eyes of the Lord?" "No, I just saw the arm." Somebody else, let's say if their eyes fell on the Supreme Lord's eyes, it got stuck there. And like that, it described that every part of the Lord's form was so beautiful and perfect that wherever their eyes fell on, they could not satiate themselves enough to get, to move their eyes. And all four brothers were beautiful looking. It is described that when these four brothers came to this world, they all started to cry simultaneously. And Dashrath asked Vashishta Guru, how to keep them quiet. So he said, "Bring 2 baskets." So then they bought 2 baskets. And he said, "Put Ram and Lakshman together and put Bharat and Shatrughna together." And as soon as they put these 2 brothers, Ram and Lakshman, together, and Bharat and Shatrughna, they kept quiet. Tomorrow we will speak about why they kept quiet. So as soon as they appeared, they were presenting and they were instructing the world. Because when you come into this world, Prabhupada said what was one of the reasons, or one of the the second reason that Lord Ramachandra came to teach us? This world is full of suffering. So when children come to this world, what do? They cry. First sign of suffering. But as soon as they are placed appropriately, then they will be happy. So tomorrow we will speak about that. So there are many pastimes of Lord Ramachandra as he's growing up, and it's described that compared to Lord Krishna, more pastimes of Lord Krishna are given of his childhood than Lord Ramachandra. Why? Because Lord Ramachandra's mood as Maryada Purushottam was specifically to present pastimes in his youth. So therefore, not so many pastimes are elaborated in terms of his childhood. Now concluding, we discussed how Ramayana is actually a personality and we should associate with Ramayana. Ramayana can be heard like a story for entertainment. It can be heard to enrich the mind, and it can be heard to enlighten us as spiritual beings. So we can hear it on different levels. We want to develop the mood of associating with Ramayana as a spiritual personality, as the supreme personality of Godhead. And by doing that, Ramayana will influence our heart and revive the qualities and values that we need to live by. So we know that in this world, more and more focus is given on objects, on material objects, on valuables, and very little is given on character. In America, there was a university that was studying the character of people that were coming out of universities. And they were noticing that people coming out of the universities are not displaying ideal character. So they were trying to find out why. And they started studying different countries, and eventually they came to Japan. So they found that in Japan, there are more, the students that are coming out of their education system have a greater foundational basis of character in relation to family, values, etc. So they started obviously adopting the education system and what was ideal there. Then they researched more, and then they came to India. And they found that actually in India, the educational system which was there in the Vedic system in terms of the Gurukul was the best to inculcate character in students. So here we find that even in Ramayana, Lord Ramachandra, the four brothers, the three brothers, they were studying under the Guru and the Gurukul. Krishna also studied under the Guru. In this way, they learning from the Vedas, from the scriptures, what is proper, ideal values. There's the beautiful story of Sanatana Goswami. One person wanted the most valuable thing, and Lord Shiva sent him to Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami said, yes, it's in the rubbish dump. And he went to go pick up this touchstone which was in the rubbish dump. And a touchstone is anything you touch turns into gold. So it was practically the most valuable thing which he received, and he was so happy. As he was walking away from Sanatana Goswami's hut, he was thinking, but hold on, if this is the most valuable thing, then why did Sanatana Goswami keep it in a rubbish dump? So he went back to Sanatana Goswami, and he asked Sanatana Goswami, I don't think you gave me the most valuable thing. Because if this is most valuable, why did you leave it in the rubbish dump? And Sanatana Goswami said, well, if you want the most valuable thing, then you have to take this, what you got in your hand, and throw it back into the rubbish dump. So that was a test. And he wanted the most valuable thing, so he did throw it back. And then Sanatana Goswami gave him the Hare Krishna mantra, that this is the most valuable thing. So we have to be brought up with the proper values and proper belief systems based on scripture. And in this regard, Mahatma Gandhi, he said when he was reading Ramayana, Ramayana for him was very valuable in that it taught him many principles, many values, like to be truthful, etc. So he learned many values. And he says this, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. So our belief system needs to be based on our acharyas, on the Vedas. Therefore, we're very fortunate that by Prabhupada's purports, Prabhupada is guiding us to have the proper belief system, the proper understanding, the proper values, so that we can have a proper destiny. And there's a beautiful story. Mahatma Gandhi, as he was boarding into a train, the first class trains in India practically is completely congested. Everybody just runs in. So he also was one day taking the train, boarding on, and he was pushed with all the crowds into the train, and one of his sandals was left behind on the platform. And the train just started to move. So he had one sandal with him and the other sandal on the platform. And Gandhi was thinking, what should I do now? And his friend was there, watching what Gandhi is going to do. So Gandhi was thinking, should I jump out and go grab the one sandal that's there? But if I do that, then I'm going to miss the train. The train's going to continue. What else should I do? So then he thought, good idea. He took his one sandal and he threw his one sandal out. And his friend was amazed. So naturally his friend asked him, why did you do that? And he said, see, if I didn't jump, then I would have one sandal. Right? So I would be distressed. And a beggar may come and he see one sandal, but he'll be distressed also because it's only one sandal. So nobody would be happy. And if I jumped to get both sandals, I would miss the train and I would be unhappy. So therefore, I felt that I rather sacrifice my other sandal as well. So in this way, there's 2 sandals. Then if a beggar comes, he'll get 2 sandals. And he said this he learned from Ramayan. How to sacrifice for others, right? How to think of others so that others are happy and satisfied. Concluding, I'd like to share just 3 more slides. The mood that we should absorb ourselves in Ramayan. As I mentioned, we can be entertained, or we can learn something, or we can be enlightened. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was traveling to South India, he met Ramdas Vipra. Ramdas Vipra invited him for lunch. And when Ramdas Vipra invited Lord Ramachandra for lunch, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to his house, the prasad was not cooked yet. So Lord Chaitanya asked Ramdas Vipra, when is prasad, invited me, when is prasad going to be ready? And he was a Ram Bhakta. So he said, no, Lakshman's just gone to the forest to pluck the fruits and vegetables. And as soon as he comes, Sita Devi will be cooking and we will have lunch. Now, this was 500 years ago. And here's this Brahman saying, Lakshman is just gone to the forest to get the fruits and vegetables and Sita is going to be cooking. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he was very, very happy. Because here is a Brahmana who's reading Ramayan, and not only is he reading Ramayan, which happened 2 million years ago, but he's living. He's so absorbed that he's actually living the pastime of Ramayan. And he's reading the section where they're in the forest. And now Lakshman is going and getting the vegetables. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu waited. And then eventually the Brahmana cooked and fed Lord Ramachandra. Brahmana cooked and he fed Lord Chaitanya. But the Brahmana did not eat. He was despondent. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the Brahmana, why are you so sad? And he said, I'm heartbroken. Ravana has just kidnapped Sita. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, understanding the mood and appreciating the absorption of this Ramdas Vipra, was very happy. And he said, no. Actually, Ravana could not take Sita Devi away. He did not take Sita. He took a Maya Sita away. So you should not be despondent. You should take prasad. So reluctantly, the Brahmana took prasad. But the Ramdas Vipra took prasad. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he traveled further south, when he came to the temple, and he found a Kurma Purana. And in the Kurma Purana, he saw this description of where it is mentioned that Ravana did not take Sita. Ravana took Maya Sita away. So he actually told the priest that I'd like to take this copy. So they took made a hand copy, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the original copy, and when he came back, he actually presented the evidence to Ramdas Vipra, and Ramdas Vipra was very happy. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated the absorption of Ramdas Vipra. So we also want to try and pray to Lord Ram on this day that we can also hear his pastimes and become absorbed. The goal is to be absorbed 24 hours a day, either through hearing the glories of the Lord, or through hearing and chanting his holy names, or through engaging and serving the Supreme Lord. In conclusion, Hanuman shares 2 beautiful verses with the proper mood. One cannot establish a relationship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities, such as one's birth in aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. None of these qualities is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Sri Ramachandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we are uncivilized inhabitants of the forest, have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends. Therefore, whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or creature other than man, such as a beast or bird, everyone should worship Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on this earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerity or penance to worship the Lord, for he accepts even a small service offered by his devotees. Thus, he is satisfied as soon as he is satisfied, and as soon as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful. Indeed, Lord Sri Ramachandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead. Shri Lord Ramachandra ki jai. So, tomorrow I will continue with, today I just wanted to emphasize about Ramayan as a personality, and over the next few days we're going to hear excerpts of the Ramayan. Tomorrow we will hear about Bharat being tested and the choice or the choices that Bharat had. This is one thing that comes through very clearly in the Ramayan. Situations will provoke one and allow one to react. But how one reacts depends on one's value system. And though that value system, if you got that value system from Lord Ramachandra, your action will be perfect. If you got it from Ravana, it's going to be disastrous. So tomorrow we will hear about Bharat's reaction and the choices that he had and what choices he made, which will then reveal the proper value system that we should also inculcate. And then on Saturday we will be discussing stumbling blocks. In the Ramayan you'll find many challenges, many difficulties that the devotees go through. The whole of Ayodhya practically have this great stumbling block. And the personality that obviously stirred up everything. Mantra means somebody that churns. So Mantra was obviously that person that really churned obstacles. So how did Lord Ramachandra deal with Mantra, deal with KK? We will share that on Saturday. Saturday 4 to 6. Then 6 to 8, we find that Lakshmi, Sita Devi represents Lakshmi. And Hanuman, he brought Lakshmi back to Lord Ram. Ravana took Lakshmi away. So how to achieve success with wealth, we will discuss on Saturday as well. Sunday, we will speak about real sacrifice, internal or external, in relation to Jatayu and Marichi. And then on Sunday, we'll hear about the devotional qualities of Hanuman. And then finally, into the Sunday program, our only shelter, which is the holy name of Lord Ram. Shri Ram Naumi Mahamatsav ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Nitai Gopramanande. Are there any questions or comments anyone has? Jai Shri Balaram Sudra Mahadani ki jai. All right, then we will end there, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow for part 2.
Hare Krishna. So before you all run away outside, Prashadam is being served downstairs in the hall for those of you that haven't taken Prashadam. And like Prabhu said, we'd like to see you tomorrow, if it's possible, for a more interesting session. If you enjoyed what was presented today, then we'll see you tomorrow. Prashadam is being served at 6 p.m. and we will start the program at 7. Thank you. Hare Krishna.